And the fallout keeps coming 16 days after former President Trump spread falsehoods that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio are eating pets. Republican Congressman Clay Higgins showed no signs at a hearing today of the potential House censure that he's facing from an online post about Haitians that he later deleted. The Louisiana rep said, quote, LOL, these Haitians are wild, eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cults, slapstick, gangsters, but damned if they don't feel all sophisticated now, filing charges against our president and VP. All these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country before January 20th. The chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Stephen Horsford, confronted him about it. That led to a heated exchange on the House floor, according to sources who saw the argument. Higgins also said to CNN, quote, it's all true. We do have freedom of speech. It's not a big deal to me. It's like something stuck to the bottom of my boot. Just scrape it off and move on with my life. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of Florida, who is co-chair of the Haiti caucus. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us. What did you think about his post and the fact that despite Speaker Johnson saying Higgins probably regrets some of what he said, Higgins himself has not said that he regrets it?
Well, I think it's very disturbing, and there's a dangerous game being played of divide and conquer, and that dangerous game has real consequences. So when we came on the floor to vote yesterday, one of the reasons I said, we have to actually confront him is because I needed him to put a face with all the violent and the vile things he said about Haitian Americans. Being the only Haitian American in Congress and the first Democrat ever elected to Congress, it's important that he sees whose life and whose family he's putting at stake. So when I approached him along with Stephen Horsford and Frederica Wilson and Joyce Beatty, I wanted to explain to him that I am Haitian American, I do represent the state of Florida, but I also wanted him to know that these statements you're making, they do have dangerous consequences, and innocent people are being put in harm's way, such as myself, my children, my family, and my community. And so when I expressed that to him, he looked like he had a moment of compassion. And I think it's very easy for people to say hateful rhetoric, but when you have to look someone in the eye and repeat it, is much tougher. And so what we have to do right now is make sure that we're not just saying that the hate speech, there's no place in our country for hate speech, but the violence that's attached to it and the real issues that are going on right now.
And so you felt that this was a positive exchange? Is that fair to characterize? And what did he say to you?
No, it wasn't positive at all, but I thought it was easy for him to say what he had to say when he was saying it with his little Twitter fingers. But in reality, when you had to look at the person in the eye, it was harder for him to stand by it. And that's the truth about it, because these dehumanizing words, they seem easy when you're saying it's the other, it's this person, it's that person. But when you have to look at your colleague and see that you're putting innocent people in harm's way, when you have to actually accept the fact that you're spreading lies, and at the end of the day, the most crushing and the most part that was so disappointing is that he was weaponizing his position of power to attack innocent people. And we're seeing this happen more and more often. And it started with J.D. Vance and the Trump administration and Trump, who are using the Haitian community as an example, making up lies about Haitians. And it doesn't just affect the people in Springfield. It affects every Haitian American living in the United States. We just heard a story in Springfield where there was a family who had their kids playing in their garage because they felt like outside wasn't safe. And there was an armed gunman who came into their family home and held them there at gunpoint. Where are we living? We have a congressional delegation who is supposed to go to Springfield tomorrow, and we're getting told that the Proud Boys and all these white supremacist groups and neo-Nazi organizations are planning on coming and confronting us. This cannot be the society that we live in. We can't have a society when, in order to do our constitutional obligations as elected officials, we have to live in fear, or there's a sense of threat and intimidation that they feel comfortable extended to even members of Congress. This cannot be accepted.
I didn't mean to misrepresent how you were characterizing your exchange. You'd said that he had a compassionate look, so I was curious to delve more into that. But I do want to ask you, the CBC chair, Horsford, who you said was part of that exchange that you had with Higgins, he's called on Higgins to be censured. He thinks he should be referred to the ethics committee over this. What do you think about that process?
Well, I believe that the CBC chair, Stephen Horsford, he handled the whole situation masterfully, because we can't sit by the sidelines and allow hate to reign, especially in our congressional chambers. There must be a sense of decorum, there must be a sense of action, and we cannot allow hate to take the floor, especially in this environment we're seeing more and more violence. And so I believe, and I stand by him throughout the whole conversation, because as we were going forward, he asked me, are we going forward? I said yes. So I appreciate him standing up, not just for us or black people, but for every Haitian American who's in fear right now. So definitely we have to take a closer look at this when it comes to ethical standards, but we have to actually understand, who are we as Americans? This should not be a CBC issue where the CBC is standing up or Chairman Harsford is just standing up. Every single member of Congress should be outraged. There is no place in these United States to have any kind of weaponization to innocent people. There's no place for misinformation. There's no place for dehumanizing comments, and there is especially no place for any kind of white supremacist comments. And so we need to take a stand and end this now.
We've heard from Haitian Americans how they are experiencing this and how this has put them at risk. I do want to ask you, since there was an ethics report out yesterday about a series of campaign finance matters the committee is investigating you for, if you respect that process and ultimate outcome, and if you would for the Higgins matter as well, which albeit is a very different one, do you see that as a good forum for both of these things?
I believe that whatever is going on right now, we respect the process and we're cooperating and we're trying to see what's going on. But the two cannot be compared, because what we're looking at are derogatory comments towards an innocent group where we're using federal funds to actually put out these derogatory comments and to also weaponize the power of the seat that the American people trust you to target an innocent group. Those are substantially different things that we're looking at. It should not be tolerated. So even having the conversation at the same time and bringing them together shouldn't happen. We're one nation, and in one nation we have certain principles that we abide by, certain principles that we actually believe in, and we have to stand tall for those principles for every single group. Today I had a conversation with one of the ambassadors from Rwanda, and she said, Sheila, be careful in these moments, because these moments are actually precursors to when you have violence against communities, especially when you're saying dehumanizing language, when you're blowing the blowhorn, saying people's IQs are lower than Americans. These are the actual steps that we see white supremacists that lead to violence. And we must take it seriously and look at it for what it is and not conflate the two issues.
Yeah, that is certainly an eye-opening perspective that you bring there. Congresswoman, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.